Danny, look, it's fantastic to meet you here in Castan Wood.
That's right, yeah.
In Martlesham. It's just down the road from where I live. I usually walk down into Martlesham along Martlesham Creek, and I've not been in this woodland before though, so it's really nice to come here and just looking around, what a fantastic setting.
Indeed, 24 acres of mixed woodland. What isn't there to love about it? Every season brings something. You know, we're open all year, the whole year round for all the different seasons, and the wood changes all the time, and it is wonderful. As you can hear, we've got birds playing ball at the moment.
Yes.
Love it.
It's beautiful. So we've walked through the wood, we've come past 2 camps.
Yep.
And we're in the 3rd camp.
We are.
And we're underneath a big parachute. There's a big open fire, and we're sitting on logs, being careful to have some separation here. And what it just feels lovely. It just feels such a nice, calm place. So what happens? What goes on here?
Well, it can be however any of our participants want it to be, really. You can have peace and tranquility, like you've just explained beautifully, and there's plenty of space. You know, there's not walls to climb and things like that, so you can just enjoy the space you're in, but you can make it as busy as you like. So a typical day, for instance, most of our courses begin at 10 in the morning. You can park at the park and ride for free, and you literally just come through the gate into this wonderful woodland. First things first is we get the fire going, because that's the heart of the whole group. And then we have a nice cuppa or porridge. If people haven't had breakfast, we'll do porridge and any sort of trimmings on top of that to set you up for the day. Then we'll discuss about what people have been up to, because it's very much about the social side as well. It's not about that you've got to do this and you've got to do that. It's about just come, chill, and get what you want out of the day. So we'll have a nice cuppa and a chat. Then we'll discuss about possibilities of the day. So we'll just put some like little feelers out and just say, you know, you could do this, you could do that. And mornings tend to be more that we do like woodland management. So we'll learn all about conservation and about managing the woodland, dead hedging, felling trees, increasing flora and fauna, so increasing the biodiversity here to protect this wood for generations to come. So there's a real important element for anyone who comes who wants to be involved in helping the environment. So that's one thing. We have decided the week before about what people would like for lunch. So then we have a lunch over the fire, from curries to chilies to pizzas to burgers to, they name it, and we'll try and do it. Now, obviously, in these times of COVID, then we do have to have a designated person, obviously, with a mask and do all the preparation and the dishing up and everything and the cooking. But in a normal situation, we all do that together, and that's part of the day. Okay, so we do that. After lunch, we then do some green woodworking, if people would like to. So that would be using the wood we've processed from the wood, and then we've got loads of photographs and ideas, or you can bring your own, and they can make whatever they like out of wood, and they take that home. Now, it might just take an afternoon to do a spatula or a spoon. It might be that they want to take home a lovely bench or something for the pride, of their gardens, and that might take several weeks. That doesn't matter, and we're there to help. But there's as much help there as they require, but there's as little, we don't interfere if they're happy to get on. And then at the end of the day, we all get round the fire again together, and we just chat about what we've enjoyed about today. What has it brought to everyone? Because some people, we try to create or help them think about the reasons why they might be coming here. And it isn't about, some would say that they want to learn new skills. Some would say that they want to socialise more. Others would say, I just want to be able to feel confident in speaking to one other person, or talk in a group, or just feel comfortable in myself, So I am a bit hyper at times, but all of our staff are fantastic. We've all got different individual personalities, and we have a nice mixture. So it's not all about, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. We can chill. We have other little sit-down areas and all this beautiful area where we can just go and just enjoy a beautiful spot. We've got bird hides, we've got a pond which we're working on. We do tree ID, fungi ID, all of those sorts of things, and we have all the books, so and we can go back to camp once we've seen them and photograph them and try and identify them. Each session is so individual, each participant is so individual about what they want, and we'll do our best to make that happen, that they really, if they've had a hard time and before arriving in the morning and they come and they're thinking, I really don't want to be here, our main purpose is for them to go home with a smile on their face.
And are we thinking, particularly when we say about maybe turning up and thinking, oh, do I really want to be here? I mean, you're the Children and Young People's delivery manager, and we're in the Children and Young People's camp, so I guess you're seeing people referred, children, young people referred from schools.
We certainly are. So at the moment we're currently working with pupil referral units.
Yeah.
We've got primary age sessions, we've got secondary age sessions, we're working with the new skills centre. We're now about to work on a project about youth crime, knife crime and county lines, where we're reaching specific groups who are very vulnerable to them sort of experiences. So if the need is there, we will make an individual course for that particular group. So many of our young people are on either they're non-attenders or they're on the brink of permanent exclusion, possibly for various reasons, but they're just not suited to mainstream schooling, and that it doesn't suit everyone. It never has, and this needs to be available for every child, really. But in the world we're in, we just want to help those who have sort of just come off the pathway a little bit, or are lost, or don't know their next direction. And we want to build that self-confidence and self-esteem and highlight these skills they have. Because in a school situation, there's the typical cues which will create the behaviours. Now, if we get rid of those original cues, so there's no walls to climb and it's a new, fresh beginning, these young people will see good in themselves, but their peers will also see things they may not have seen before because they're in a different environment. It's completely different to be such in a wonderful...
How long might they come to you for? I mean, are we talking one day a week for a few weeks or months? Or
well, everything again is so different, Simon. We've got... We tend to say for forest school sort of sessions, which can be child-led, okay, so for the primary schools it's all more about the child-led situation, so we sort of set some things out, but it's up to them what they choose to do, as long as it's safe and everything. It's about exploration and adventure and problem solving, all that sort of thing. When we get to the secondary school age and the pupil referral units, it's a little bit more structured, because we really want them to get something out and build on those skills, and we want them to help manage the woodland and everything. So we've got that side too. And I'm now going to say I've forgotten what the actual question was.
No, you're fine. So for children and young people, there's this wonderful place, this almost wonderful alternative for those children and young people who are maybe struggling to cope with, engage with the structured way of primary and secondary schools. For adults, for them, for grown-ups, we passed one of the camps and there was some ladies there, obviously gathered having a group session there today, and you're providing across Greenlight Trust support for adults. What might draw somebody to coming to I mean, I can think why I'd be drawn to come. It's the open fire and the wood carving and learning and just the social interaction. But why do people come here?
Again, everybody is so individual, but I would say that people might think straight off, well, I'm not perhaps a physical person, I'm not an outdoor person, or I'm not I haven't got the skills, I can't lift an axe, I can't do that. It's not about that. So when they come here, it's mainly to enjoy the moment, enjoy the space. Okay, so what a wonderful setting to be. So it's about being at peace, and like today there's hardly any wind and everything, we can hear the bird song. It's about companionship, it's about getting into a routine again, it's about having a purpose to get up in the morning, because they know when they get here they're going to get a lovely welcome and a nice warm cuppa of something, hopefully some conversation with other people who have experienced similar things or who show lots of empathy, like all our staff do, but participants really support each other. You notice over, the 6 or 12 weeks of a course, just how that bond grows. It's not about an individual coming to the woods anymore, it's about a group coming to the woods who are really supportive, and friendships develop where they meet outside of these sessions as well. In most cases they're desperate to come back on it again because it's a safe place to be, it's a comfortable place to be. So going back with the young people, we usually say 6 weeks is a minimum because it's about a long-term observation. Now, if we're going to help others to understand where that child is at, and we need to observe them over a longer period to see, how this makes a difference, and see if the cues are taken away, what a difference that makes. We advise 12 weeks, so like a term. But we don't say at the end of the term, cheerio. If they want to continue, that is absolutely fine to continue as long as that individual requires our services, And if we're seeing that, there's benefits all the way along, and it's just, progression, even in minute little bits, but we see progression, then that's worth to continue with for, longer than the 12 weeks.
So this area here, come on then, tell me what's around us. You were saying, it's been developed over the last 12 months with children and young people in mind. We're sitting on, obviously, logs around the campfire. Behind us I can see some ropes for walking across, low-level ropes. And I can see a wooden handmade instrument.
Yes, here we've got the xylophone,
The xylophone. And was that a craft making?
No, that's the separate kitchen area.
Separate kitchen area.
For preparation and everything,
for cooking on the fire here. I'll maybe turn the camera around in a moment. And then we've got, now was that the craft making area?
That is the craft making area.
Which got separate sort of tents, and I guess there are times when the rain falls and everyone huddles around the campfire. But you have got tents or canopies over the top of these areas. And you did say that the young people themselves, when you said what would you like in this area, they said they wanted their own composting toilet.
Otherwise it was a long walk back to the depot.
So over on the far side there, set a little bit away from the camp, there is a composting toilet. And you were mentioning that around the perimeter there is a sort of a dead wood, low
dead hedge.
Dead hedge. Is that what you
dead hedge. So we've used all the brash for that, and that just gives a natural, not a barrier, but a natural sort of like area. So if we've got primary school age children here, we used to put red ribbons up on the trees, but when they're playing and running, they might not see that. Whereas if they come across this dead hedge, it's like, okay, we've gone far enough, because we play hide and seek and we put the ghillie suits on.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Well, we do lots of Bear Grylls stuff.
There's quite a lot of playing going on, I think.
There's an awful lot, particularly around the staff.
Which is really nice.
And you think that often that you talk about children and young people to enjoy this woodlands. We've seen many grown-up, mature adults who like the tree swing, who enjoy those same things.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter. It's across everything we do here is across every age group, and we'll do our very best to give them a good day. But so this particular camp, when we first saw up, we had a parachute up, but we said, right, now's the opportunity. Now we're getting more young children and young people involved with our sessions. Let's let them make it their own. So they decide what they'd like in this camp, and all the things you've described. We've got bird hides. Just down the back there, Simon, we've got a mudslide.
Okay.
So we get in big sacks, and we slide down, and we've got bales of stuff at the bottom, so they just crash into that. But because it's about risk awareness and identifying risk and managing risk for these young people as well. It's a world where everyone is in cotton wool, and they'll only learn through doing things and starting to risk assess for themselves. So obviously it's all safe here and we do risk assessments, but it's also about that adventure and that learning themselves about what they're capable of, and that's dangerous, or that branch seems a bit, and it's all about that. And we also teach them about deadwood, and the habitats around here, and about the greenwood and why we don't damage the bark, because it's like living the skin, and that's where all the nourishment's going up. We teach them bushcraft, so if you found a silver birch and you're really thirsty on a spring or summer's day, that you can get, you do birch tapping, and you can collect syrup from it and you can drink it and all of these sorts of things, and chestnuts we're going to roast on the fire next week, they've asked for. There's so much to do.
So there are also people coming to Greenlight Trust to learn forest skills, to pass those on to other people, is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
They're doing forest skills sort of training courses.
Yes. My colleague Mel and her team, they do forest school training, so anybody who's really interested in getting involved in that for their school or for their the community club or whatever, we have level 2 and level 3, so that goes on too. And obviously we've got this wonderful woodland, but we've also got the at Lawshall is our foundry, where there's a lovely woodland, and then we've got Frithie Woods, which is an ancient woodland, again about 24 acres, just about 2 miles up the road from there. We also manage a Coppice area RSPB Minsmere, where we have regular groups, which again is wonderful, and we can go to other sites. If there's landowners or people who have got an outdoor area, we can also go to them and take it to them, as we do with schools. So we'll create a wonderful wild area, and a place for where all the children could enjoy,
So Greenlight Trust started, I think, in 1989.
Absolutely right.
And I gathered that you supported about over 1,800 people last year. And a growing number of people who were adults who needed help with their mental health, who were looking for a way to get support with their mental health. And I can see how this sort of calm environment and that supportive atmosphere could help somebody to at their own pace start to engage and talk with people.
So we also encourage as well, we find out about what their hobbies are and interests. So for instance, if somebody came along and they particularly like photography, well, what a wonderful place to do a little bit of photography for us, so we can start to get some sort of idea of the different flora and fauna which is in the woods. So they're doing something really useful for us too, but they're enjoying that space too. We often, as part of a walk, because we usually do a walk every day, by the way, which I didn't mention. So it might be a shorter walk or it might be a longer one, depending on the group. And before, we just used to walk, and we'd get round it in 20-25 minutes and we'd be back to camp. But when you start teaching them about observation and enjoying that moment and enjoying that space and using all your senses and listening and looking under logs and all of those sorts of things, then we would take an hour and a half, and they said what a difference. Some of these, the adults in particular, had been coming for quite some time off and on courses, and they said the times they've walked around here, but they'd never really given it the time to really just listen and watch and enjoy. It was a walk, which is all great, it's all physical activity and very good for your mental health, as we know, but when you start smelling the different things and touching the different things, it's giving off pheromones and all these different things, and seeing these wonderful greens and now bronzes and yellows and reds, then all of that is heartwarming, and it just makes you feel like you're in a lovely place for that moment.
So it's kind of an opportunity to practice mindfulness in the most wonderful place. You were talking about taking the moment and just taking a breath and just being calm and just...
We're all too busy. We need to enjoy that, be in that moment and just enjoy it. And this is the ideal place with the ideal participants who, like I said before, support each other and the staff. I can't recommend them enough.
Danny, if someone's watching this and they're thinking, I'd like to, either myself or somebody in my family or friend or somebody I'm supporting through the organisation I work with could benefit from that. So is the best thing they can do contact the office?
Absolutely.
And have that initial conversation and just say, so is this something, how can we engage?
Yes.
I guess that would be the best way. And of course, Greenlight Trust, it's www.greenlighttrust.org.
You're right,
and I think the email is info@greenlighttrust.org.
Right,
So people can get in touch and just have that conversation and just see what's possible.
And initially, if you're concerned about talking to somebody about it, you can just go on the website and you can click on the various things, what courses are available, and there's a little description. And then there's referral forms, or if you'd prefer a friendly chat, which I'd prefer personally, because I like to find the ins and outs, there's the number there, and you've got a wonderful team at Lawshall, and they'll explain everything, and then the PECS team will get in contact about saying when the next course is available, when there's availability, how long it's for, and all of that, and they sort all of that out with them. We've got a wonderful support team as well. It's not just about the delivery staff here, we've got the whole setup where it's hopefully a very positive experience for anyone who takes the chance and think, I'll give it a go.
If somebody wanted to get in touch with you as the Children and Young People's Service Delivery Manager, can they do that?
They can come direct to me. Yeah.
What's your email, please?
So my email is very simple. It's danny@greenlighttrust.org, and my mobile number is 07599 187 154, and you'll come straight through to me.
Brilliant, Danny. I think with that information, if someone thinks this might just be what, I'm thinking of, a family member who might benefit. They don't live in this county, but if only. So I just want to thank you for taking the time and sharing this beautiful place, and for all the support you're giving.
And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I'm going to turn the camera so we get a little scan of the camp, and then people can see where we are a little bit better. So I'm just going to turn that round. Here we go. Now, you said that we're about to have a look at the outside kitchen, aren't we?
That's right, yeah, the outside.
But we're just passing by. It's the hand washing station, isn't it?
Yeah, the tippy taps.
The tippy taps.
Tippy taps, yeah. We've got them all across the woodland. Yeah.
And we're just passing a reindeer from last year.
Christmas, yeah.
Christmas.
Last survivor. We'll be doing them again shortly. And everything we make, Simon, the participants are free to take it home.
Oh, lovely. And we're looking at the crafting area, and some coat hooks. And then in the distance there is the outside loo. Now, show and tell. We're just passing show and tell.
Yeah, so that's when we find things out on our walks, and if people find them interesting, they put them on there so everyone else can share, and the groups after them. Yeah.
And the rope walk.
We've got bird feeding stations.
The bird feeding stations.
So we bring the seeds up.
And off in the distance down there, below the bank, is a mudslide.
There's a mudslide, yeah. And the bird hide, and the tree swing, and obviously you can see shelters. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
Look, thank you very much, Danny. Thank you.